Welcome again to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be talking with Michael. He has had multiple internships at JPMorgan, and he also just recently got like multiple offers from different companies. And in this video, I just chat with him about what the interview process is like, the things he learned while interviewing, because he applied to jobs this year, and we know like last year, 2024, and we know how last year was. It was like very tedious. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more videos like this, do let me know, and then I'm going to like bring more people. If there's a kind of person that you want me to bring on this channel, let me know, and then I will try to bring them. So enjoy the video and see ya. Thank you very much for getting on the call with me, Michael. It's very nice to join to talk with you. I think it's also very interesting that you're the second person that I'm bringing on the channel. First person was like a PM at Asana. Yeah, the second person, and I think I am like background. Even you probably don't know, but I was already telling you, like, I'm probably very like, I like your, how will I explain it? I like what you've done for yourself. I think that's the way to put it. Like, I sent your LinkedIn to my best friend like yesterday to be like, this is the guy that I'm talking to. I was like, wow, this guy has done so much for himself. So I think for like people that are just knowing you, and also for me that I don't know you, because the first time I think I heard about you was back in school. So Micah and I went to the same school, and then like someone was like, oh, there's this guy, he's in UK working at JPMorgan. And I'm like, Jesus, when will I do this with my life? Right? Like Jita, I was like, when will I do this with my life? And that was like a very motivational story from, because it was one of the things that I wanted to do in school, which is like go to internship at like Google and stuff outside of the company, outside of the country, but I couldn't do that. So yeah, tell me a little bit about how that happened. The way I wanted to tell it is more like, I also understand that we are from the same town, which is awesome, because I think I know what that is like. Like you went to Smith, like I know what it's like to come from like Obumasho, and then now we are like working at world-class tech companies, like, or like finance companies. Like you worked at JP Morgan, you worked at some other companies, and I'm interested in how you got from Smith to that point. That's like the first thing, like also in a bit to like let people know you. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so you said from Smith to I got to like do
JPMorgan, all the internships, and
Okay, so I think ideally I would love to start from my junior secondary school, basically. So in junior secondary school, I always loved math. Math was my like favorite subject, and like that, it was just like that until like we got to, I think, then that time we used to have like courses like, I think they call it computer studies. I'm not sure. It's not like computer studies. They just teach us like basics of computing, like input devices, output, all these like basic stuff, and they put us in front of lab. They teach us Microsoft Word and stuff. So I've always been like fascinated by how computer works, like on the ground. And I used to love like playing games, right? Like basically. So I used to enjoy gaming, and so the curiosity started from like I was usually like really curious. So how were games made? So I like, okay, how did this guy make this game? Then I started like researching. That time I was lucky to have like access to internet in my, I think, GSS3. That's like my final junior year in secondary school. So I started like Googling and doing a lot of stuff, and then I came across this word called like programming. Like, what is this? So then I started reading. That time there was like Wikipedia, and I started reading about it. Like, it doesn't really make any sense to me at that point. But then I came across stuff like, okay, computer science, how computer science is a branch of mathematics and stuff. Then when I got to my senior secondary school, then further maths became like my favorite subject. I really enjoyed like doing further maths at that point, and I really like love further maths basically. So then that proceeded until I got to, I think, was it SS2, SS3? There's this bootcamp called SQI in Obumasho. I don't know if you...
I know SQI.
SQI. Yeah, so then they even came to our school. They came to like advertise to students that, okay, during your holidays, you should come and do some training, learn programming. Then Then I became obsessed with them. Like I would from my SS2 to SS3, I would tell my mom every term that I want to go here. Well, parents, they are not like they didn't really know like what's like going on, and they didn't understand some of these things. So it was not until I finished my WAEC, wrote my jam, and I had good scores. Then they were like, okay, what should we reward you to with? Like it was basically like a reward for having good grades in school and like
Good.
getting admissions basically, because I already had an admission before like I passed everything once. Then I had an admission before, like okay, and the way OA is like quite slow, so we are like 6 months before we will actually resume
Yeah.
school. And so we were like, what are you going to do with these 6 months? And I had some mates then, like some of them have gone to school, people that went to private university, they've gone to school on time, and I was just at home, and then I was telling them, I want to go to like SQI now, so let me just like go and learn basics of like programming and just get into it. Then when I got to SQI, actually before I got to SQI, I was learning HTML on my own. Like at home,
Nice.
I was learning HTML, CSS. I was just doing small stuff in the browser, and yeah. But SQI kind of really like exposed me like a little bit more. So when I got to SQI, that was when we started. Like it was mostly I started with like web programming, like front end, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then they used to do like Bootstrap as well. Then a little bit, I think like 2 months after, or 3 months after, I'm not sure. We did. I also learned about like Angular, and then Angular is like TypeScript, like just like the basics basically. The basics. Then we also talked about PHP, MySQL, like basically just like touching different things, but not really like going in depth into all these things. So yeah, that was I really like got started in tech. So I've been like always, it's always like been a passion of mine. I've always been like passionate about it, and I really enjoy it. Then I resumed school, so I had to leave SQI. Then when I resumed first semester, I thought I was going to be able to do it, but I didn't, like once like school started, registration, all this kind of school stress and stuff. Yeah. So I had to focus on school for like the first semester, but the second semester I already like kind of find a balance between it. So yeah, I was coding on the side. Yeah, I was coding on the side, just, like mostly just working on personal projects, like mostly. And then came, I was doing that till I think end of 2019, before the COVID year. So
Yeah.
then 2020 came, I was also like continuing my store. Then COVID came basically. When COVID came, school had to stop and all this stuff had to stop. So when school stopped, like everyone went home. So I think that period was like the really like defining moment for me. So I stayed back in school. I didn't go home.
Nice.
So I didn't go home when everyone was at home. I was mostly just, I think that time was when I was like learning React. I was like doing a lot of React like that time. And I got a gig that time. I got like a contract role to be like a project for like, it's like, I wouldn't say a startup, for like basically someone that wants to own like some like a website, a platform where shoppers and brands can come together and like basically just interact. So building that project, I actually learned a lot, because there was someone on that project for, the guy was like a senior developer, like a senior engineer where he works basically. But it was one building that project, then they just needed someone to like help him with, like, because he doesn't have the time. Like it just was like consuming a lot of time. So then I started working on it. Then he will guide me through different stuff, like show me how to do stuff and different patterns. But since I already like I had an idea of what I was doing, and I'm not like a complete no, and I was like very, very like passionate about learning. So anything he says, I read it up, I learn it the next day, I implement it straight up. Yeah. And I actually learned a lot from him. Then that was when I also got into like using like Node.js and Next.js for backend and stuff. So 2020 was like a defining moment for me, I really think. Then 2021 came. 2021 school resumed back. Then 2021 was when I started like let's say being more intentional about finding an internship basically. I think 2021, I know this guy, he is a Unilab. Then I think I was just going to LinkedIn one day. Then I was just using LinkedIn. Then I was seeing like a guy from Unilab posting that I got internship at, I think this was made at that time. So I was like, wow, like, is it, so you could do this from Nigeria? Like, it's possible? Like, that was the question I asked myself. Then I was like, okay. Then 2021 came, I started like reading, like following a lot of like some like Reddit, this channel already, like CS majors, reading a lot of stuff. It's mostly like internship stuff there and stuff, like using LinkedIn to a lot, just trying to like know what's really going on, and like being active basically on those things, like learning more about like how the internships work and how they work. So when the time comes, I think in September of 2021, so that was when I applied to JPMorgan. So I applied, then I got an OA. Yeah. So then I did the OA. Then I didn't hear back until like the January of 2022. So yeah, that was for JPMorgan. Then I heard back on January of 2022 that, oh, you are successful, like we would like to invite you to, like, I think they have this thing called like a super day or something.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Yeah, something like a super day. So I was invited to that. Then the interview was just like, because before that, I've also been doing like some LeetCode, and it was like a piece of cake for me, to be honest. Because, then before that, I actually had, like I had an offer before that, which was like Cruise Automation. I don't know if you know them. Like
I know Cruise, yeah.
Yeah, Cruise. So the self-driving car company based in San Francisco. So I think they recently just like got absorbed into GM now. Something.
Interesting.
Yeah. So for Cruise, so it was just a recruiter that reached out to me I think that was also in September. If I remember correctly, September 19 or something. That is so much. Yeah, because it was like the first time a recruiter would be reaching out to me. Then it's like, oh, I like your profile. It fits this particular internship role opening we have. And would you like to like jump on a call with me and let me introduce you to like the company and what you do and stuff? Then I jump on the recruiter call. So she introduced me to the company, what they do, their mission, and explained to me more about the role. So the role was like a simulation, like intern role basically, because they have like the simulator stuff on the web there. And then like I said, so she sent me the application after the recruiting call. Then I applied. Then I got the first round. The first round was, to be honest, but that was one of like the most, like, because I just started interviewing that time. One of my first interviews. Even though I've been like trying to solve LeetCode, like doing LeetCode a bit, but I think I was just like probably a little bit less than 100 or about, like around 100 at that time. And I was still getting used to it. So that question he gave me, it wasn't even like a LeetCode style question. It was some kind of like something that you probably have to do on the job, or they have to solve it. So it was a really difficult question. Yeah, but I think what they liked about me was like the approach I took, and I was trying to like break down the question, like, because I didn't like fully solve that first part. Then I think, so it was not until I got the offer, then I realized that they gave me the wrong questions, actually. So the question, it was too hard for my level.
Wow.
Yeah. It was too hard for my level.
Crazy.
So I had to do a second phone screen. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I had to so I was wondering why they had to do a second phone screen for me. So I did the second phone screen. Then second phone screen, they gave me the question, then I finished it up in, like, my interviewer said I finished it up in 30 minutes. Like the question, I finished everything one person, then all the follow-ups, everything. Then the interviewer said that I was the first person to actually solve like that problem. He has just like 5 other people, and none of them solved the problem. So I was the first person to solve it, and I did not only solve it, I solved it in like half of the time. Yeah. So the guy was like really impressed, and just like moved me to the final round. The final round came. I had like 2 technical rounds and 2 technical rounds and 1 engineering manager round, I believe. So in the first technical round, that was more like first technical round was trying to remember. So first technical round was like yeah, it was also like a simulation kind of question, right? Like where like you are. So I also like I was able to solve that one as well, but not as like as efficiently as I would like, but because the question was kind of long and like technical. Yeah. Well, the interviewer agreed with my solution. Then almost towards the end, he said I should just like kind of just walk through my approach and tell him what I think and stuff. And I was able to do that. Then for the second like technical round, that one, he asked me some questions before we jumped into like coding now. So probably trying to gauge my experience based on the question he kind of gave me. So not until the end of the interview. So he told me that I was able to solve the question, but the question he gave me, usually give it to like people interviewing for senior Like, bro, like,
Yeah.
I was just, this is an internship, bro. Why,
Yeah, like, why it is an internship? Why are you stressing me?
Why are you stressing me, man? Like, because I was wondering, like, the question was kind of, well, I was able to also like solve that, and like, okay, well, it is what it is. Now, then the EM round came. Then I showed one of the projects I built to the EM round. Like, it was really impressed. It was like, oh, you're just in your, that time you're just in your second year and you were able to like do this kind of project. And oh, it was really impressed. Then it was like, then he asked, will you love to come to the US? Blah, blah. I say, okay, yes, if I get your offer.
What am I doing with my life?
Why not? Like, Silicon Valley, like, why not? Then I got that offer on November, I think like towards the end of November. That was when I had that offer for Cruise internship. Then I had the JPMorgan internship offer in January. No, I think, first week of February. Yeah, I did my interview end of January then. I had that offer first week of February. Then, I had 2 offers. So at that point, at the point, I was actually, because that time, I was able to do the 2 internship basically because there was like a strike, Nigerian university.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There was strike in 2022. So it was 2022. So there was just, I think there were like 8 months strike. Okay.
Yeah, like 9 months. I remember because that affected my moving, right? Because I got the Asana job offer like 2021, and then they couldn't process my results because they were on strike for like the beginning of like January to like November ending. Wow. So like my results were in process and I was just like stuck in. So I will always remember that strike.
Like I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that night period. Yeah. Like I just want to get out of this place and you're kind of stuck.
Yeah. But I mean, it all worked out in the end, which is like what I'm really glad about. And I think it's also like just very impressive, like what your story is. When you're talking about SQI, I remember that I actually wanted to go to SQI, but my dad believed that people that go to SQI are people that don't have anything to do with their life, like people that did not. It's not like the way. I think it was also like the way they were selling SQI, because they come to churches then, and the way they were selling SQI was like, oh, if your child hasn't gotten admission, if your child can't get admission, let them come to SQI so that they don't waste their time at home, right? So based on that message, my dad was like, it's people that. It's children that don't have like anything to do with their life that go to SQI, right? Because I already also started programming. And when I saw SQI, I was like, oh, I want to try to like get more into that. But my dad was like, nah. He didn't tell me initially, right? It was later that he was telling me that, the reason why he didn't pay for me then was because it was like, it's people that don't have future that go to SQI. I was like, this man. But
my mom too was like very reluctant before like because I told you I was since my SS2 days. Then I had to be like consistently telling her and trying to like, in fact, so at some point, it's not like begging, like for almost like more than a year before she's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting though, because sometimes I'm like, sometimes our parents are right, sometimes they just don't get some things right. But I think for me, I'm glad it all worked out. Maybe I would have like done things earlier because I didn't start like web until like 200 level first semester, that kind of thing, right? I was just in like C++ doing competitive programming and all those kind of things, right? So maybe if I had started at SQI, maybe anyways, but that's all maybes and that's all very interesting. But yeah, I really do like that story. You got JP Morgan and then from there, like you were getting return offers from JP Morgans after like for subsequent internships, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So now everybody knows Michael and they know your story. And like, I'm really, really, I am motivated by your story, even with the little that I think I've done for myself. So I think like a lot of people like would actually also like be motivated by this story. But funny thing here was that one of the reasons why I invited Michael was because, not necessarily because of the tweet, but because like throughout this year, like we've been chatting and, talking about him getting like a full-time offer after school. Cause I think that's the goal. Like that was my goal while I was in school. I was like, I want to get an offer before I leave school. There's a level of confidence that you have when you know that you have an offer before you're like, all good, life is good. Like you just cruise, like just do your stuff. And so I was actually glad because like I said, throughout the year, we're chatting and I know what the struggle is like, right? I just recorded a video that I posted talking about like how the job market wasn't like very great for like people that are just finishing school. And I was happy when I saw that you got 2 offers from Nigeria. Like people, I feel like people that don't live in Nigeria probably don't understand what that is like. Because now it's even harder because like companies are not going to bring you from when there are talents inside of the country, right? So I was like very happy to see that you got those 2 offers and you already accepted one. And I sent a message when I saw the tweet that you made, which is probably going to be the thumbnail of this video. Yeah, it's probably going to be like, probably going to be part of the thumbnail of the video. Okay. But like the tweet you made was like, so December 31. So we are recording this video today, which is like, what's today? January 1st, right? But he made a tweet on, which I'm probably going to add somehow, on December 31st, 2023. And he said, I'm going to end 2024 with multiple new grad job offers, right? And he made another tweet on December 30th, 2024. He said 50 plus applications, 3 phone screens, 3 Onsites, final rounds, and full loops. 2 offers, 1 accepted. I was like, yeah, baby, we did it. No, I was actually like, yes, because when you were like telling me to like refer you to Asana, and I was like, yeah, Asana wasn't like taking you. I was already like, I want this guy to like, and I know the way you were grinding LeetCode. You were like, we will still talk about like LeetCode and prepping and stuff, but like, I really want to, I'm interested in in hearing this story, how you got from like 50 plus applications, and also why 50 plus? Why not? Because when I was applying, maybe because there were like way more new grad openings, I had like 100 plus applications, like, and multiple phone screens and all those kind of things, right? Yeah. So I want to know what that story is like from the first tweet, right, to the last tweet, like, which is like 2024. Like, what's the story?
Okay, that's like a long story. Well, I'll try to.
Let's get into it.
I'll try to say as much as I remember, or as much as I can, as much as what comes to my head, basically. So when I made that tweet, was I think I was preparing for like 2024, like as a new year. I was like thinking about what I want to achieve in that year, basically. And one of my top goals for the year is like, I want to like grind this entire year, basically. So I didn't even start like grinding LeetCode like January of 2024. No, I've been doing it, I think, since like November of 2023 or October of 2023. I can't remember, like, because I've been like planning every day since then. So I was like keeping some streaks, like trying to like do like at least solve one question every day. Some days I solve more than one and stuff. So I've been doing that, and when I made that tweet, I was just like, okay, by this time next year, this is like one of my main goals for the year is like I want to have multiple new grad offers nice. by the end of like 2024, so that when I graduate, I just like start a job. Then January came. I think was I still interviewing for internship January? Yeah, so I think I was doing as that period, I had like November, December. I think I was doing like some internship final rounds. I think I was in final round for like. I think I even made to Asana's final round as well, but eventually I think I told you, I saw the question, but sometimes things just don't work out, and you have some funny interviewers and stuff. So I made I think couple more final rounds, and it's like mostly the same story, just like unlucky with or for no reason. And sometimes I won't try to ask someone else at the college. We just say like, oh, the expanse is full at that point, that they are just trying to interview people for like the cast is like really full. So I had a case. Then January came. I just focused on school from January to like April. When we were done with like then I went to like IT. So when I went on IT, so started like IT, like the 6 month IT that we do. So I think I started that in April. Then in the middle of my IT, I had to travel to the UK for like a 3 month internship at JPMorgan, like in London. Then I came back, continued my IT. Then September came. I came back in September basically. But before I came, I've been applying for jobs like in August. And what really happened like after the internship basically? So what happened was like I think one of the like the will I say back maybe like shortcomings or like obstacles I had was like, so I didn't get a return offer after the internship, which was like, oh, I did 3 internship with 2 guys and no return offer.
Yeah.
Why? Because they were saying no head count. Like,
Head
well,
count, yeah.
then immediately I got that news, I messaged the recruiter and we jumped on the call. Like, why didn't I get a return offer? I finished my project 2 weeks before on time. I did everything well. Even my manager was not even around. I did everything, like completed my project, completed my work. Like, what's the reason? And they couldn't really say anything. No recruiters, they wouldn't want to say it. She was just like repeating maybe some line that they already told them to repeat, just repeating something, trying to motivate me. But I was really pissed, to be honest. I was really pissed. Like, I was so pissed, and I was just like why would I do 3 internships with like the same company and like no full-time return offer. But yeah, because it was weird. And well, I learned my lesson. So yeah. So what I would just tell you guys, if you are watching this, if you have, don't do 3 internships in the same company. if you can get more offers or maybe more opportunities, just go with just do different internship with different companies. Yeah, I think that. So yeah, after that, so I did total of 4 internships at that point. Then I updated my resume. Try to I think I actually sent it for you for review as well. I think so, in August. Yeah, in August or something. Yeah. So that was when I started applying. But the reason why I couldn't apply to a lot of jobs was because of sponsorship. So most companies were not sponsoring, and I wasn't applying to US companies basically, US locations, like US roles, because it's very hard to see someone being hired from other part of the country, into US because of H1B constraints and stuff. And another factor for that was because, like you said, before the school released your results and stuff. So I felt they would have started, even if you somehow get it and you are very lucky and the company is willing to bring you over on H1B. So the lottery is kind of discouraging. Imagine you grind hard, you accept an offer, and they tell you that you can't get a lottery. That's annoying in my opinion. And another thing, like apart from the lottery, also I feel they favor more of hiring people in US, people that can go on OPT, even if they are international students and stuff. So US were kind of so I wasn't also applying to US because that's where most of the jobs are basically. So I wasn't applying to Canada as well. Yeah, I was mostly focused on UK companies, or maybe big tech that have offices in UK. And even then, most of the applications that I still got, like I said, I sent 50 plus applications. I think about 50 something or 60 something. I can't remember the exact number. And most of them still got rejected because I'm pretty sure most of them got rejected because of relocation and stuff. Because I know people that they didn't have any internship, but they go to school in the UK and they had and they had 10 interviews without any internship. And I had 4 internships on my resume and I only and I managed to get just 3. Wow. Yeah. So
I think one thing that I was gonna say about the old US Canada thingy is that it's, especially if you're in Africa, if you're in Nigeria, the way it used to be, or the way it is that Europe, Middle East, Africa for big tech companies are usually lumped together, so they are called EMEA region. So usually they hire for those groups, those countries at the same time, all together. And it's I think it's just easier to relocate. And then they have APAC, which is Asia Pacific, something. And then they have the Americas. So the Americas is Canada, US, and all those kind of things, right? And so sometimes Mexico. So sometimes it's legitimately actually very hard to get a job offer in US, directly from US, especially if you're applying for entry-level roles or new grad roles, directly from Nigeria, from Africa to the US. I think I was one of the lucky ones, to be honest, and I'm glad to that I have where I am.
To be there are very few companies that hire like worldwide, and they don't care about location.
Yeah,
Like I said, like when I got the cruise like internship to go to the US. To be honest, I don't know anyone else that I've done it before I did it or after I did it.
Yeah.
Like get an internship, like a tech internship in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
From Nigeria. Like it's so it's like very rare basically. Like it's very rare to do that. So the more realistic one is like I said, like EMEA. So like Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Like those are like the realistic one. So that was the main reason why I was focused on like applying to like jobs in the UK and Europe basically. So I mostly focused in the UK because then I applied jobs. Then when the interview came, I didn't even get any interview until like middle of October, basically. Applying.
Wow.
Like middle of
From
October,
the beginning of the year, that's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't get into it. Then I've been applying since like August, like very early in August, basically. Then no interviews until the middle of October. So I don't know. I don't need to mention the companies.
Oh no. Yeah, if you don't want to, you don't need to mention the companies.
Okay. Yeah. So they were pretty big companies. So two of them are like very big, and I eventually got an offer from one, and one was like a smaller company size, like a startup, but they're like, I think they're almost a unicorn. I'm not sure about their, but they're like they are like growing a lot. They are growing a lot. Yeah.
Interesting. Awesome. So I think one of the things that I was going to ask you was that how easy do you think it was applying 2020 compared to now? Like, what was the experience like for you in terms of like job openings? Because it's more like I same with you. I currently like do a mentorship with like University of like British Columbia right here in like in Vancouver, and I was reviewing some resume for some of the students that would like the third year or like the fourth year student now. And some of them had internships in like big tech companies. Do you get like some of them have internships like the biggest banks in Canada, like they had internships like RBC and all those kind of things. And they were asking me like, they asked me to like review their resume. I was like, left to me, your resume looks okay. So you're probably not the problem. So it's like people have this experience. You had like 3 internships on your resume, but it was still very hard to get a job. But I can remember that the only thing that I had on my resume was Inteku. I was using only Inteku to apply to like Google and stuff like that. I mean, it was bold of me, to be honest. Funny thing was I got like an interview for an internship to Google and like my 300 level or like 200 level, which was like that was one of the things that motivated me that I can make it in life. Because when I got that, I was like, wow,
that's really impressive.
With only Inteku, like what are they looking for in me, right? I think it's also more like, I just want to know so that I don't like put words in your mouth. What was it like applying for jobs like 2 years ago and like now this year that you started applying?
I feel I started applying like 2021, and that was like the first time my internship, and it was way more easier then, to be honest. Like I said, for like Cruise, the team that even took me out like to San Francisco, like Silicon Valley internship, like this like fancy Silicon Valley company, paid tons of money, and like like I didn't even like, it was the recruiter reach out. I didn't even apply. So the recruiter that reached out to me and asked me to apply. Like that was how it was then. They were the one looking for people then, right? Yeah. They were the one looking for talents. But now it's more like talents are the one, like too many talents looking for like limited space. So I feel one factor was, I think one of the major factors, I think, like before I mentioned the economic factor, I think like now there's kind of like maybe oversaturation, right? There are like so many CS grad, like university are producing much more CS grad. Even in Nigeria, like university are admitting like a lot of CS people now. Even like you just like our department just become like a faculty now. So instead of like 3 options that we used to have, instead of 3 courses, they want to turn it to like 10 options, 10 different options. Right. Amazing. So now they admit I think they usually admit like about 200 to 250 people now. Probably start bringing in maybe like 500 plus now. So like, so the university are churning out students. So people are graduating, more people are graduating from CSB. So I feel like they are flooding the market with like more supply, and at the same time, I feel at the same time the demand it's going down basically for entry level, because I feel, to be honest, look at AI tools now, they can probably do half of what entry level guys do these days, because they are so good and stuff. So the demand for entry level is going down. So, and I think that's one of the major factor. Another thing, because in 2023, early 2023, the layoffs also affected like ending of 2022 / early 2023. Like the layoffs also affected like the entry level market. So, and imagine you have like people that maybe they were like just 2 years of experience, a year of experience. I think Meta did lay off that time. They were like a bunch of new grads. Now they flood all those guys. They're in the market, like with Meta on their resume, and you with like 3 internships. Like, of course, the recruiter is going to interview like the guys with all these like big names, or like they have actual work experience, and they are willing to like take the same pay because they've been laid off and stuff. So I think those are the major factor. Like I said, like much more CS grad, CS grad, the economy and like the layoffs basically.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That's exactly the same thing that I think. It's like and even apart from people that are doing CS degrees, there are people, because computer science has like a low barrier of entry. Like, so we have more people that are not even computer science graduates that are also like going into like tech in general. So that whole supply of like, so I think I agree with it. The fact that you said like the supply of people that we are getting into the market is more than what we have demand now. Like also like from the old layoff, and companies are not really hiring so much. And it's also like very hard for people that are entry level. Like it's just a tough life for them. And I think one of the other things that I was going to ask you was that how did you prep for your interviews? You probably already started talking about those, but I think people would be interested in how you prep for your interviews. And also like let's talk about that first, and then I'll ask a follow-up question.
Okay. So I would just like to add, the application is like way more like harder now compared to like what it was. And how I prepared for my interview was mostly like there are 2 things basically, like get the interview and pass the interview, right? So now we are at the passing the interview stage. So how I prep was, to be honest, it was mostly like, because I know I was going for technical like role, and it's most like being able to solve all these like problems and like being able to solve them fast, basically. So it was mostly doing like a lot of LeetCode, like you mentioned. So I did a lot of LeetCode basically. I think in 2024 alone, I solved more than like 500 questions. Like
552. I have that opened on 522. I have that opened.
Yeah, that was before the year. It's like I think before the year. It's like the last time I think I checked was like yesterday, 31st. I think I was approaching like close to 540 or something. Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. So I did a lot. Yeah. So like it's just by solving a lot of questions, trying to get used to interview, like putting yourself under that time constraints, and if you're struggling with a question, I wouldn't waste time on it, to be honest. Just try to look the solution up and like understand it, and try to understand the pattern. So next time you come across that pattern, you are able to solve it very fast, and you know exactly what to do. So,
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
So it's mostly just like LeetCode, and for system, because one of the companies I interviewed for, they had like system designer. And so like for entry level, that's like crazy. And it was actually the company I got like offer at. Like, so it was crazy, right? It was crazy.
Interesting.
So the system design round was like it was I'm not trying to say it's something very, it's equivalent to like Meta E4 system design or
interesting.
I think I would like Meta E4 system design. So you have to discuss a lot of stuff, like know exactly what you are doing, design a working system, starts to be efficient, then it's like it has to work basically. So so if your interview has system design as well, so you should prep for that as well. And I remember at Asana, when I interviewed for their internship that time, they have like low level design, like object oriented. So those are kind of things you can prepare for as well. But I feel if you've done enough LeetCode, or you are like low level design shouldn't be too hard to like
too hard for you.
To adapt. But system design is like quite different. Like they are a whole new thing. So yeah. So
I mean, generally, I think I enjoy system design anyways because it's more open-ended. It's more about how you can talk and like just talk about like different trade-offs. And there's usually like a format to like system design. You ask clarifying questions. We can always talk about that later, but like there's always like a pattern to like system design. Calculate all the numbers that you need to calculate. Start talking about load balancers, whether you're going to use like SQL or NoSQL databases, and then from there you like just move on from that. Yeah, so I think that makes sense. So you made a very interesting tweet, which was going to be the follow-up to my question. That you said if you are in your 20s, if you're a guy in your early 20s, like buy LeetCode Premium, go into debt if you have to go into it. What's the story? Like, what's the story?
Actually, that week there was like a trend about people tweeting something similar. Yeah, I think I saw one learn functional programming and some principle. Like people were just tweeting different things. But for me, what I could really resonate with, and I think what I've probably changed my life a bit was like LeetCode Premium basically. So when you buy LeetCode Premium, you have access to like more things like company tagged questions. You have access to they have like some LeetCode Explore card. So you can, so if you want to focus on maybe dynamic programming, so you can just see like very good dynamic programming questions that if you solve them, you are going to become decent at dynamic programming. They even have like tagged cards for like companies like Fed basically, like Facebook, Google, Amazon, Meta, Apple. Yeah. So they have all the stuff. You're like, so it's just like a lot, in my opinion. And you also have access to premium questions as well. So I think there are premium questions on LeetCode. So yeah. It's not something necessary, but I feel, that extra, that like push. And I also feel if you pay for something, it's, and it's not that cheap, right? It's around $50 per year. So if you pay that kind of amount, especially if you live in a third world country, if you pay that kind of money, you are going to grind, of course, because you are going to remember, I pay this kind of amount of money. So I need to use my money. I need to learn from my money. Yeah. So I think that's another factor, basically, that I would say. Yeah, so it's really like it's really helpful. It's good. You have like that extra edge. You have like that extra push to just like grind and because like for big tech, if you are aiming for big tech companies, of course, the style is always like LeetCode style. LeetCode, LeetCode style.
I think that makes sense also because I also used like LeetCode Premiums, although I didn't pay for it. So there were a bunch of, which is what I'm going to advise is that there were a bunch of group of people like they were like students, engineer lag and all those kind of things. I think there was a time that LeetCode was running a promo then where you could buy a lifetime premium access to LeetCode.
What? Wow.
Like they still have access to that distance. Like I still go to that LeetCode and still check. It's like lifetime access. So I told the guy that, can you help me? Like, thank you. The guy that gave me access. So like you said, like the company tagged questions, they really go a long way. Like being able to like sort by companies and see the frequently asked questions and like seeing all the answers and just reading all those, I think is like also very helpful. So for the most part, I think what I generally advise is that you like get a group of friends. Like you said, if you're in like a third world country or something, it's very expensive, right? So you can get a group. You guys can be a group if you're like preparing for interviews together, and you can even create profiles on LeetCode. So if you are like, I think I can create up to 4 profiles. So 4 of you can like contribute money together and just buy LeetCode Premium. Usually I would also advise it anyways, but it just felt like a strong decision. Like, if you don't buy it, you're going to fail in life. I think that was like very, very interesting anyways. So I think more like trying to close the whole thing that we've been talking about. I wanted to ask that, what are some of the tips that you would give to people that are trying to apply for jobs this new year, that are trying to like, especially entry level, that are trying to get like offers this new year? Like, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think one advice I will give people is like, please read the job descriptions before you apply. I think many people don't like read the job description. Like, just read the job description. Try to like tune your resume to that, like a bit, even if it's like you have a generic resume. Just try to like tune it to that. Another thing, like maybe these are just like application tips and like resume tips, right?
Yeah.
Apply to jobs that you are like a fit for, that if you get interviewed for it, and even if you end up getting an offer, you're able to like, okay, like you are fit for it, and you're able to like, if it requires traveling, you're able to like travel for it and do it. Because there could be conditions where people, I think I've seen that like one or two cases where people get an offer and they couldn't like go for the job or like relocate for the job or different kind of stuff. So yeah, and moving to resume tips, like please, entry level, your resume should not be more than one page. Like please, like I've seen people show me their resume. I was just like you literally have no like real experience and you have like 3 pages of
3 pages,
why?
yeah.
Like why? Like
I think that's what's baffling. What's baffling isn't so much about the number of pages. It's the fact that you don't have so much experience.
Yeah, it's
and you still make it 3 pages.
2 pages. Like,
and it's like, what are you putting there?
what are you putting there? Like, it's just weird.
Yeah.
Like, please, you're already showing more than a page. And one thing I know that people I've seen in all those guys with 3 pages resume, they usually have this section that like about themselves or something that we write. I'm a software engineer, blah blah blah. I did this. I'm a very good person. Communication skill. No, nobody cares about that. Like that section shouldn't be. Nobody cares about that section. So I think the section that people really care about or recruiters really care about, like your education, your professional experience. If you don't have a lot of experience, if you have projects, and even if you're applying for maybe entry level or internship role, you also have like projects, then you have like skills and maybe certifications and volunteer experience. So nothing to, and everything should be concise. It should not be like for each of your experience, it should not be more than like 3 to 4 bullet points is okay.
Yeah.
Like I've seen people, they will list like 15 bullet points and like, what? Yeah. So, and people also like, on people you should try to like, metrics based stuff, not I did so thing. Like you should do like, okay, I improve this by this percentage of stuff and optimize this by maybe 5x, 10x. Yeah. Basically like numbers and metrics. I think that helps as well. Actually, most of the like when I do behaviorals or final engineering round. So these are the things that they talk about, right? They want to know how you got it and like how you achieve that thing and like because they care about those kind of numbers. Because it's at the end of the day, even when you are working in a company, it's really the number you like the number of what that matters. Nobody cares about that. You need the improvements and the numbers that matters. Yeah, so like focusing on metrics, making sure your resume concise. And like applying for job early, please. Like applying for job early. So if you see an application, like you should apply for it like early. If an application is out today, you can apply for it immediately today. Just apply. Don't waste time. And if you can apply with referral, please, that is like really good. If you apply with referral, because like the two big interviews I got, like I said, I was just applying, and I think like it was only out of the 3 interviews I got, 2 of them were through referrals, basically. Like I got it through referrals. Yeah.
Nice.
So apply with referrals. Referrals helps. At least it makes sure that someone gets to see your
you skip the line.
Skip the line. So someone gets to look at it at least. Yeah. So I think those are like tips I have.
What about the passing the interview? Like passing the interview?
Oh yeah. So I was mostly talking about like getting
applying. Yeah, so, that's good.
Yeah, applying. Yeah. So passing the interview, I'll just like iterate again. Like try to passing the interview. If it's a technical interview, right? A technical interview. So there are mainly 2 or 3 types of interviews. So you can carry on like technical interview, which we can divide into 2. But maybe like like LeetCode style interview or system design interview. So for LeetCode style interview, of course, you know what you have to do. It's LeetCode, like do LeetCode, do a lot of LeetCode, solve a lot of questions. Like also before you start solving LeetCode, make sure you know your DSA basics, because a lot of people just jump into LeetCode without knowing what a linked list is or what a self-balanced tree is. You don't know what an EP is. You don't know what like max EP is, like Fibonacci, all those kind of stuff. So you need to like you need to be really good on your basics of data structures and algorithm. Like they are basically made, and they're like popular algorithms, right? So maybe I can just quickly run through them. So data structure that I will focus on when I'm preparing for interviews, or like linked lists, arrays, strings, trees. There are many different types of trees. So I focus mostly on binary trees and binary search trees. Then I'll focus on graphs as well. So learn a lot of graph algorithm. Yeah,
especially if you are preparing for meta.
Yeah, exactly. This cry is not that. Trust me, this cry is just evaluation of PFS. No discra, no topological sort, no can algorithm. It's not hard. It's just like people think this. It's just big names. They are not hard, right?
Yeah.
Like just know all these algorithms. They are not hard. They are very hard to. They are very easy to like just comes with practice. So practice a lot. When you practice a lot, all these algorithms, they come like have an idea of what you need to find, be able to implement in your find if you can. Like I think that's really good. That gives like an edge above like other people. So yeah, I mentioned graphs. What other data structures? I think that like, a popular one for Meta doesn't ask DP. So companies that ask DP, I think Google asks DP.
Google
Yeah,
is DP.
yeah, Google.
They
Google asks
almost
DP.
killed me with DP. Jesus.
Yeah. So if you're interviewing for Google, do DP, of course. I'm not sure if Amazon asks DP. I'm not sure if they do.
Amazon doesn't ask DP. Amazon is mostly like it's just regular. Amazon actually has one of like the simplest interviews in my own opinion. Like they ask like normal array questions and like hash tables and like just regular questions. I think where people fail in Amazon interviews like from the behavioral interviews, because they have like for every interview that you do, for every technical interview, there's like a behavior. There's the name they call it like there's a behavioral
leadership
interview,
principle,
like,
I believe.
leadership principle. This thing like that's where they really fail a lot of. But apart from that, like. There are LeetCode kind of questions are like medium level questions, which like they are like low medium level questions to be honest. From my own experience, especially for like entry level roles. And if you're like doing senior level role, they are probably going to focus more on like system design and not LeetCode so much. Yeah.
So I think like Israel also said like hash map, hash tables, those kind of topics are important. Like what are hash tables, hash functions, assets, like know how these hash functions work in depth, because I've been in an interview that I solved the question, then the guy left the question after solving this. Then he asked me to start explaining how hash map works and how I can like optimize, how I can make my hash map efficient. Like I'm like, but because I was able to do
like,
that,
how did you get it?
yeah, it was because I was able to like explain it and understand how I can like improve like chaining and stuff. So he said, okay, he was happy with it. So like those are kind of things I also focus on. Like, and for system design, like in the technical part, so you can read. There's this platform called like LO Interview now. I think like it's really good.
Interesting.
Yeah, LO Interview, like really good. They have like this structure you can follow. You can use system design primer. I think there's like GW Pro for that. There's Grokking system design too. So I think for entry level, I wouldn't go beyond that, to be honest. I wouldn't start reading Alex Zhu book, because I feel those ones are for like senior level, because those guys are like it's too in depth for entry level, in my opinion. So I think those three should be sufficient for entry level. You have system design, in my opinion. Then for object oriented like design questions, in my opinion, object oriented design questions are usually just testing you know how to code. They are like, can you understand the question? Then do you know how to code? Basically, you don't get too difficult in like optimizing for algorithm or knowing some kind of algorithm. Yeah, and like the second part is like I mentioned, like two part, technical part and behavioral part. So behavioral part, if you can practice your story, please do like have like two or three story, like have like 2 or 3 story that are very good for each scenario. Like I think a popular question that I've seen in most behavioral interviews is like conflict resolution. So have a story for it. Like conflict resolution is very common. Like
this is a bad advice, but I would say that it doesn't have to be true. Because like, what if you've not faced conflict at work before? You can just like take a story from one something in your life and make it technical and be like, oh, just cook something. Just know that. Just make sure that your story, like you get your facts correctly in case they ask you follow-up questions.
And another tricky question I've seen companies like when they ask you, why do you want to work here? Please don't say some generic like stuff, but like some companies, they actually care about it. So they want to know if you have researched about the country or about the company, if you actually care about what they do, if you know, or if you even know exactly what that company do. So when they ask that question, they can be tricky with it. So yeah, and these are some of the things I will prepare for. I also prepare questions for my interviewers, like especially if it's like for engineering round. So because they tend to know like a lot about the company. So I prepare like 5 questions for them at least. So and not just like generic questions, like 5 really good questions about their culture, their engineering culture, how they make decisions, like different stuff. Basically, it could be anything, even it could be about what they do. Yeah. Nice. So I think those are the things I would do in a behavioral interview. Yeah, it's just like preparing basically. I think behavioral interview is way easier to pass than.
Yeah, it just seems to be a good storyteller.
Yeah, just be a good storyteller and be a nice person. Don't be too.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. And don't be an asshole.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think that was like very interesting conversation. Like, I really enjoyed talking with you and like chatting about that. Like, if you have any question for Michael, drop it in the comment section. Remember to like the video. But also, I would say that Michael is starting his own YouTube channel. So let's give a shout out. Like, I'm gonna drop the link also in the description, so you can go subscribe if you want to hear more about his story. If you also want to hear anything else about like Michael and you want him to come again, like just let me know. I will like get him on. I will beg him and get him on. But yeah, I think this was like a very, at least for me, it was a very informative talk. Like, it was nice talking about that with you, especially consider that you just went through the whole process of like applying for jobs and you know what the market is like. So thank you very much for coming on, Michael. Do you have any other last things you want to say before we end this call?
Okay. So I think I saw this tweet. So someone said if you could go back, like maybe to 2019, like pre-COVID, and only say two words to yourself. Like this is for people in tech, right? So if I could only say 2 words to myself in 2019, I will only say like this 2 word: grind, it's good.
Okay, that's good. Interesting. Yeah, grind, it's good. That's
Just
words to live by.
Yeah,
grind, it's good.
Just those 2 words. That's what I would say to myself.
Interesting.
Because I feel if I started earlier, I would probably, who knows, maybe I would have done probably multiple FENG internships, if not even like JPMorgan or something.
Mine would probably be like invest Bitcoin. But that was on a lighter note. Yeah, but it probably was something like that anyways. And I'll put all my money in Bitcoin. But yeah, well, yeah, thank you very much, Michael. It's nice to see 2 guys from Ogbomoso on the world stage. I'm happy to see that.
Let's go.
Let's go get it. And I'm very excited to chat with you. Thank you very much. Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation, and I hope you had. It was at least for me. I think I would say it was informative and it was inspirational, to be honest. So I really hope it was the same for you. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you like this kind of video where I bring people from the industry, and I want to do more of that this year and bring people that are even like of different levels, whether entry level or senior level, and just talk to them about different things that they are doing in their fields. Do let me know and then I'll try to bring them up. But yeah, thank you and see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.